Chip, so I wanted to ask, what concerns do federal contractors raise most often when they're vetting AI proposal tools?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's one that we hear often from prospects and from clients. And that's really, what happens to my data when it's in the platform. They worry that the models are being trained in it. They worry that we're doing something with it. They just don't really have an understanding of what happens to the information. And it's all highly confidential. If it's not company confidential, it's, the government has put some kind of classification on it. So they need to be assured that when the information is in the platform, that it's being cared for and it's being maintained and kept at the right classification. But what we always tell them is that the system is entirely closed, that there's no sharing of the models, that not even our own engineers have access to that information. And so that they can be quite confident that their information is not being used inappropriately, being shared outside of the system, it's not being released to the web, and the models, most importantly, are not being trained on it.
I can speak to this a bit from a technical perspective. Your data is secure within the boundary of our FedRAMP High authorization, obviously, but also within that boundary, how we use that data, how we treat that data is something we take a lot of care and consideration for. Our system doesn't train on the data, as you say. Your proposals aren't used to improve anyone else's proposals, either directly or indirectly. Your proposals remain your proposals. You mentioned the closed boundary there a bit. I wanted to elaborate on that. Basically, in our cluster level for our federal product, every exit point from the cluster, so egress points, are vetted and controlled, authorized. Every ingress, the same. So within this boundary, there's no risk of, the internet AI accidentally searching something it shouldn't on the open internet. Some bad data somehow coming in and polluting your data, your outputs from AI within this boundary. Both of those are impossible at a system level.
Yeah, that should give folks a great deal of comfort in knowing that their information is being well cared for within the platform. One of the other areas, as you were talking, that I was thinking about was this whole idea of just basic compliance.
Yeah.
So I think there's this idea out there that FedRAMP Moderate is certainly sufficient, and I think it might be in certain instances.
Yeah.
If you're a subcontractor, the prime needs to know that you're working within that type of environment. Your contracting officer, if they've set that stipulation on that RFP, on that requirement, on that information, needs to know that you're fully complying with that requirement and that we're all doing things the way that we're expected to do. The implications are profound and existential for contractors that don't follow these rules.
Yeah.
They could lose their ability to contract with the federal government altogether. So there are serious consequences attached to this. I think the other thing that we need to think about too is that, the FedRAMP High authorization, because we can offer them sort of a scalable environment that not only allows them to meet those low to moderate requirements, but we can also help them with IL5 or ITAR related requirements and to really sort of move into defense sector work if they need to do those kinds of projects. And I think, underscoring all of this is this idea that we can speed up things for them. So they don't have to worry about whether or not they comply with the requirement. They're already there. They are working within an environment that is fully compliant with those strict federal guidelines, that it doesn't matter. They can move in whatever market direction they need to as an organization.
All those doors open for them. So when they do want to make a decision to swiftly move into adjacent market, that's already ready for them. They don't need to slow themselves down. Yeah.
Exactly. And then there's also like this mission readiness flexibility idea as well, which is if the government asks them to respond. So maybe it's something, beyond just wanting to move into a particular market sector. Maybe you're working for a client agency that wants you to expand your program offering and help them in different ways.
Yeah.
They're already ready to do that.
Gotcha.
They've got the right tools in place. And
so this decision isn't necessarily something that they make, we want to move into a new sector. It can be actually an external factor like the government asking you to move into it. Interesting.